Here with the writing workshop, and it is Friday afternoon, so thank goodness, TGIF. But I did just want to make sure that we keep going with our process. And I had something kind of interesting come across my plate today. So I did get responses from 2 journals that I have been working with that are ready to publish manuscripts that I've submitted. And this shouldn't take longer than 6 to 8 months, but I have to be honest with you, submitting to academic journals lately is taking a year to a year and a half to get published. Part of it was because of COVID, and now I think it's because there's other delays because people are kind of, burned out. And a lot of the manuscript work or the editing work that happens for journals is all voluntary, right? Like we get asked to review for journals and they're not paying us. So individuals in the community who are qualified to review these different manuscripts will kind of put it off. Like I do that myself. Sometimes they'll ask me to review a paper and I will say yes and then not look at it until like a day or 2 before it's due. So I'm guilty, but I'm living with the consequences of that. So I have a manuscript I'm going to share with you. I'm sharing my screen right now, and so I'm going to see if I can open it. Excuse me. Here it is. So this is through Sage Publishing, which is a pretty well-known publisher, and they have lots of different journals. This particular journal is called Health Promotion Practice. And I originally submitted this journal or this manuscript because they were doing a arts and health special issue. And so my manuscript actually got lost in the review process. It went through the first level of review. They asked me to make some corrections, and then I never heard from them again. And I was like, that's weird. The editor got back to me after like 6 months and said, oh, I'm so sorry. Actually, it somehow got lost in the system and we want to publish it, but we need you to make these corrections. So I submitted the corrections. They reviewed them. They came back to me and said, because it's not an arts and health submission anymore, we would like you to make these other changes. And I said, okay, fine. And then I did it. And now I got this back as of like yesterday. And this is called a page proof. And this basically gives you the ability to look through what you submitted and respond to any of their questions. And if you look, that's a lot of questions. That's what, query is. Whew. So it's already been a huge process with this journal, but I wanted to show you what it looks like so you could kind of get a sense of what to expect if you're in this review process. And mostly just so that you know, this is totally normal, right? Like I've published about 12 papers, either as, as an author somewhere, either as first author or second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. And this is a part of the process. So a big part of this is not taking it to heart and meticulously, methodically responding to their questions in the way that they want you to do it. So again, the journal is Health Promotion Practice. My article number is there. Thank you for choosing to publish with us. This is your final opportunity to ensure your article will be accurate at publication. Please review your proof carefully and respond to the queries using the circled tools in the image below, which are available in Adobe Reader DC by clicking tools at the top of the menu and then comment. So this is tools and comment, right? And so now I'm able to use tools. They're all showing up right here on the side, I believe. And they're also showing up here on top. Okay, so those are the tools that they're saying I should be able to use. Let's see if so I could do a comment or I could highlight. So it looks like they want me to only highlight, strike out, make a comment, insert text where I'm leaving the cursor, do a little text box. I don't know when I would use that. Actually use the drawing tool to probably circle stuff. Attach a new document or do something that I'm going to free draw. I don't know why I would do that, but that's what they want on this particular thing. And this is important to follow the directions to the T. So if you do not see these tools, please ensure you've opened the file with Acrobat, okay, which I did, Adobe Reader DC. I actually pay for the Acrobat Suite myself. If you don't have access to the Acrobat suite, which is all of the different programs that Acrobat runs, the Adobe suite, which includes Acrobat and it includes a few other different projects. If you don't have access to the Adobe suite, please let me know and I'll see if we can get access through ANII or some other group at SMU. Okay. It says it's available for free right here, but to tell you the truth, it says it's available for free, but they usually want you to put in a credit card, so feel free to still contact me. And if you want more instructions, you can go to this thing. This is an online link to Sage, the larger kind of publishing company's resource page. So the things they want to know, please note that we cannot amend ORCID IDs for any articles at the proof stage. ORCID IDs, we've talked about this before, is a freestanding repository where you get an ORCID ID yourself and you list that ID on any manuscript, any publication, anywhere, and it links back to your personal page, right? But they're saying once we publish it, if you didn't give us your ORCID ID or it's wrong, it is forever and ever after linked to that ORCID ID. So if I accidentally give them the wrong one, I am never going to be able to get this paper back under my file, and whoever's wrong number I gave it to, they're never going to be able to get it out of theirs. There's probably some process, but it's incredibly cumbersome, so be careful. Please confirm that all author information, including names, affiliations, sequence, and contact details are correct. This is actually really important because I had another manuscript come in this week, and my name is listed twice. First author, Adrian Martinez Hollingsworth, second author, Adrian Martinez, and then all of the other authors. And I'm like, why would you do that? But they did it. So just, even though it seems very simple, please make sure it's correct. And when they say sequence in academia, the placement of who you are in this sequence is really important. So you want to make sure that that is on point. Please review the entire document for typographical errors, mathematical errors, or any necessary corrections. Check headings, tables, and figures. This is important to do because I actually published something in a really high impact journal, and I went through it with a fine-tooth comb, and then it published, and there was a very dumb misspelling. And it's embarrassing to have it in there, but like, you can read your stuff once, and then it's kind of saved in your brain the way that you read it. You really need an outside pair of eyeballs. So since that time, I will often ask my husband or a friend to also go through it to just make sure there isn't anything weird. And please confirm you've reviewed this proof to your satisfaction and understand that this is your final opportunity for review prior to publication. Because they're asking that in the emailed response that I send to the editor that has this saved file, I'm going to use that exact term. I am writing to confirm that I have reviewed this proof to my satisfaction and understand this is my final opportunity. They wouldn't have it there if you didn't need to put that verbiage in, so make sure that you do. So now here's the list of things that I absolutely need to do. So first off, one of the authors, Jackie Hernandez, as you'll see here, has a little 2 next to her name. And that 2 is linked to Cal State Northridge. But what they wanted to know was, did she not get any sort of degree? Well, remember how I told you this has been in review for a while? It's because Jackie was working on her master's in public health, but she hadn't gotten it yet. But she has it now. So I need to go back. And when I actually click on this, I am going to, it's linking me right to where it was. I'm going to say, yes. Let me see. Oh, sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. I am going to say yes. Let's see if she spelled it. Jacqueline, oops. Hernandez, MPH, right? So now they've got that answer right there. We're kind of in a rush, so I am just going to show you how to do this, and I'm going to go back and format this. But what I would probably do is I'm going to say, I'm going to use this text box, I'm going to drop it down to where it belongs, but in this little space, I'm going to say, please note that Jacqueline Hernandez's degree has been adjusted. See page whatever. And I'm going to list that there, right? So that's this section here. I'm also probably going to email my friend Jackie and say, Jackie, do you have anything else that you got that's like a certification or something that I should probably know? Because we want to make sure that it's linked. We also want to make sure that if she has an ORCID ID, It's also there. Next thing, please provide complete reference details for Shepard 2018 or delete the citation. And they're saying that for 3 different citations on here, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to kind of go down through this paper and see where else that's listed. Oh, here it is. Shepard 2018. Hey, where did that come from? Right? And if we go down to the references, sorry, it's kind of a long paper. It appears to be alphabetical, and I don't see a citation for Shepard. It's possible that in an earlier paper, I did have a citation for Shepard, but remember I told you there's like several iterations of this paper? It's possible that we just took it out. So I'm going to go back to a former version of this paper and see. I can actually do a search, go into the find box and type in Shepard and see if that citation exists anywhere. And if it does, then I'm going to put it in there. And if it doesn't, then I'm just going to delete it. Okay. So that was the next like 3 or 4, right? Check out these citations. Next, it says in 6, Association of American Medical Colleges not mentioned in the text. Please insert the appropriate citation in the text or delete the reference. That's the same thing for both of these. Hey, you had a citation that's not in there. Number 8, same thing. This isn't mentioned in the text. Please insert or take it out. Number 9, the given URL does not lead to the title. Please verify and provide the correct URL. So let's go to number 9. And there it is. So gentrification is twice as likely to displace renters as homeowners. This was the link that was provided when I looked at the article, but I searched it over a year and a half ago. It's possible that that article has been moved or even removed because you note this is just the CityLab websites through the University of Toronto's kind of discussion board. So it's possible it's not even there anymore, right? So I need to actually go back and check and see, did this get moved? What happened exactly? What you're probably noticing here is that most of these, let's see, so insert appropriate text or citation or delete the reference, insert the right citation or delete it. This isn't mentioned. Almost every single thing here is something that was from an older version of the paper and that section was removed. Or what probably happened was I submitted it saying, based on your comments, we may wish to omit this section. And that's why I didn't change the references, because I didn't know if they wanted to leave that part in, right? And so that's it. Every single comment that they put in here, other than please make sure Jackie's title is correct, is really just about making sure that the citations are current. And that is going to be a continuing problem for everyone as long as it takes a year to publish manuscripts. Because as we all know, you gather data over 6 months to a year or two, generally, from the design of the study to the closure of the study. You write the paper, and that can take anywhere from, 6 months is the best I've seen, to like a year or two, right? And then the publication process of submitting it to journals, sometimes having it bounce back by journals that say this isn't a good match, finally finding the right journal, getting them to review it, getting the first level of corrections back, sending it back, the second level of corrections back, sending it back. You're talking 4 or 5 years that can sometimes elapse for some of these larger projects. That is a long time, right? The world changes in 4 or 5 years. Whole giant fields of science shift. There's paradigm shifts in like 4 or 5 years. Even if we're talking 2 or 3 years. The fastest paper I've ever had accepted was a short report of a conference program, and it was 1,800 words, and they accepted it with no changes, and it still took about 2 years for me to get the actual citation ready to go. and listed as anything other than a preprint. So odds are when you started exploring this space, it was like 4 or 5 years ago, and most of your foundational references are from that period, right? So I guess what I want you to know is don't be discouraged. This is a part of the process. And while we're doing this paper, we're also working on other papers, and we're working on writing grants for projects that are the next step based on these papers. And we're working on smaller projects that we already got grants for and are being funded. So we talk about the research process, right? As like, actually we talk about it in terms of the scientific process and kind of closing a loop from coming up with an idea and testing it and then like getting iterations of it and publishing it and coming up with a new idea. But actually, you've got multiple layers of these circles or timelines overlaying on each other. Because if you just wait for one project to be completely finalized, it would take too long for the science to move forward, right? So being a scientist is juggling a lot of different balls in the air of all of these different projects that are at different phases of where they are. And that's okay. So this manuscript, which is a really meaningful manuscript to me, this is about mural painting to collect sensitizing data and encourage research participation among US Latinos. I loved these projects. And as you can see, we transformed areas that looked like this at the mural site that was taken in our original windshield survey by doing these interactive painting sessions with communities and then actually painting these panels that really changed these environments for people who are living in these historically divested spaces, right? So this is important work, but you have to really be dedicated in the long term to making sure you're able to disseminate. And the way we do that primarily as faculty members is in writing. So I am going to stop presenting and I'm going to go back to the main screen. Hi, everybody. I'm going to post this and have this available, but just remember the key take home here is this is a marathon. Your interest and passion needs to be fed throughout so that little setbacks don't hit that hard, right? Like I opened this up this morning or yesterday and I was like, what? 20 some corrections? Are you kidding me? But now that I look at it and I had a little bit of time, I'm like, that ain't so bad, right? And it's certainly not so bad in the service of getting this important work out there so that we can help people, because that's what we're doing all of this for, is not just helping people, but helping like people, like the species move forward. We're helping humans in the largest way that we can. And there's a lot of meaning in that. And it just naturally comes with some sacrifice. So, well, that was a great session. I'm going to stop recording, but thank you for hanging out, and I look forward to seeing you soon.